Here's my question for today. What music do you prefer listening while doing general stuff? Is it something faster or relaxing? Also, do you like it quiet or loud? I think classical music would suit you.
Well, you're right about classical, as described earlier. I prefer to keep it quiet and relaxing. That suits reading best. It becomes difficult to focus otherwise.
Pt.17. This isn't a question, but as a fellow intellectual, I feel I must respectfully correct you on something. In Sayori's anime, you try to correct Sayori for her incorrect use of the word omnipotent. You then tell her that the word she used should have been that the word she should have used was omniscient instead. However, both of those words would have been used correctly within the context of what she was saying. After all, omniscience is a prerequisite of omnipotence. As the saying goes, knowledge is power.
Well, my fellow intellectual, it's my sincere hope that you meant this assertion in jest. Omnipotence is not specifically inclusive of omniscience. Supposing it were actually possible to be either, one could know everything and still be powerless. One could also be all-powerful, yet know nothing, although the capacity for omniscience is presumed. A thought without action is powerless, and action without thought is meaningless. By no means is one inexorably linked to the other. So perhaps the word you're looking for is omnipotent.
Hima-G33. Do you know about Hanako Ikazawa? And if you do you think you can be good friends?
This name is unfamiliar to me. Does she attend our school? I suppose I'll have to find out more about her in the follow-up.
Rated Zombie. How do you feel about there being fan art of you? Some of it even being lewd.
I hope you aren't serious.
Since horror is one of your preferred genres in literature, do you have any other horror movies or horror games you like?
As before, I'm not much of a gamer. There are some horror films I like, though. But I should say, I don't consider gorefests to be horror. They are horrific, but not horrifying. I think three I could recommend are Rinku, Jo-un, and Gingwai. I believe their English titles are The Ring, The Grudge, and The Eye. They are sufficiently disturbing.
They were followed up with, oh, and have you ever played any musical instruments before? I indicate why, but you seem like someone who would like to play the flute.
Like I mentioned, I've only played the violin before. I think Natsuki has some flute experience, though.
The Silencer, 935. What book would you like to live in if you could?
You might think I'd default to my favorite book, but reading about a place and living in it are very different things. Much as I love Everlast, its world is a place of strife and hardship. In fact, the conflict within many books makes their livability less than ideal. This is further complicated by the question of whether I'm living through the events of the story, or within the world it presents. If the former, I'd be safer than something like Goodnight Moon. If the latter, I enjoy living in the world of Harry Potter, provided I'm not a bungle, of course.
Let's see, White Skull 20. Okay, here's two questions. 1. How to write good poems like yours?
Oh, I'd be happy to offer poetry advice. There are many ways to write a successful poem, but if you wish to take it further, more finesse is required. Poetry as an art form needs a greater level of depth. The process to achieve this is fairly nuanced. While it is important to write with purpose, you should understand that your poem's meaning is a secondary concern. When a poem is read by others, they form their own interpretations of it. There's nothing incorrect about this.
Complete opposite of Natsuki's opinion.
If someone derives unintended meaning from your work, it is valid. Your words brought forth these feelings within them. For that reason, it's quite alright to hide your own meaning as much as you please. This is where simpler poems fall short. They put one single meaning and practically wave it in your face. A wider vocabulary certainly helps. Oftentimes, one powerful word can express an idea more succinctly than 10 simpler ones. Find a way to convey your own message while leaving room for others' thoughts is the challenge of a true poet.
2. I'm not trying to judge you, but can you tell me more about your knife collection? How many knives do you have? And which ones you like the most? And which one is the sharpest? I think knives are cool too. And Nos Technician, can you post your knife collection? Not very various, I'm just like 38.
Again, I'm unsure of how many I own, and I'd be hard-pressed to choose a favorite. Many of them have ornate handles, blade carvings, or spectacular coloration. I do my best to ensure each edition is as unique as possible, and I keep them all very, very sharp. I'd love to show a picture, but I don't think I can fit them all into a single shot.
Nos Technician, hey Yuri, do you have any advice for someone who wants to find a local book or group like the Literature Club? You and the rest of the club really seem to have been helped by it, so it'd be cool for other people to find something similar.
Advice for starting a club? Oh, I think Monica would be better suited to answer this. I'm not sure that's starting the function would be of biggest concern. Location is important. For us, we have the school and the club as sanctions. To start a local book club, you may need permission from wherever you choose to meet. You could hold it in your home, but others may be apprehensive of joining under such conditions. Ideally, you'd want to find a library with a separate meeting area. I imagine the rest is just advertising.
And 7. Do you mind correcting my spelling/grammar? Yower adorable. There is sent anyone else I love greater. How about my math? I feel I can condense this and make it positive. -2i is greater than 6u. Also, can you do me a favor? You're beautiful, smart, and capable. I don't want you to hurt yourself or say that another girl is more desirable than you.
This grammar hurts to read. I see what you're doing, so I'm sure these mistakes are deliberate. Including this math problem that translates to, is greater, or no, I heart you.
Is how that would be. So that's a heart emoji. There you go.
I'm glad you like me, but you have a peculiar way of showing it. And I'm sorry, but there are plenty of girls that are more desirable than me.
I asked about 4. I have a few questions, I have a few of questions. 1. I think it's obvious you and Natsuki have a disagreement, to put it as neutrally as possible, about if manga is or isn't literature. So, what do you define as literature, and would things like visual novels, movies, plays, and music fit into that definition?
I understand this is something Natsuki feels strongly about, but it's not a matter of personal standards. If we're going strictly by the letter of the definition, literature is defined as any written work, and only with special regard to things of higher merit. Technically, scripts for games, movies, plays, and lyrics all qualify. That doesn't mean the end products are literature, but elements are incorporated within them. But they do meet the standard implied by do they meet the standard implied by literary greatness? Often they do not, and manga is no exception.
2. On another Natsuki-related note, we have heard her side, but why do you think you two are the most confrontational to each other's statement? Natsuki and I conflict.
Natsuki and I conflict because she feels belittled by me. I'll admit I don't make this any easier for her, but I refuse to dumb myself down just for her sake. I'm not trying to flaunt my knowledge by behaving this way. It's simply how I am and how I like to be. It's not my fault if she's frustrated by her lack of understanding.
3. What is your favorite video game? Personally, I could see wrapping up under a blanket and then playing an RPG like Persona 5, Final Fantasy, or Dragon Quest.
I really don't play many games. I suppose I must declare Smash as my favorite. I may be missing out due to my preference for books, but they offer the experience I enjoy the most. But I guess I could have a look at these for the follow-up.
4. We all know you like tea, but what about coffee or hot chocolate? My favorite out of hot drinks. And Hayden Joy adds, 1. Have you ever tried coffee? 2. Do you prefer tea or a good book?
I'm not fond of coffee. I've no need of it, as tea fills that role for me perfectly. It also tends to be bitter, which I don't much care for. Hot chocolate is good on occasion, but I can't drink it regularly. And I wouldn't put tea into books as opposing choices.
Excuse me.
I prefer it both at once.
If you had to choose between being seen as cute or being seen as sexy, with no in between, what would you choose?
If I could only be seen as cute or sexy, I think I'd prefer the former. The latter has some implications.
Done with the questions. Please keep an eye on each other and your soul. Stay safe. Mr. Halish won't stop calling me cute on Discord regrets if Nazis advice, violent, or otherwise help.
It sounds like this instant Halish person likes to tease you. If you want this behavior to cease, perhaps you should try to stop rewarding it. Deny them the reaction they seek. They should grow bored of it eventually.
Frantic from. Greetings, Puppet Yuri. How do you feel about not knowing about the true meaning of your reality and the fact you are actually a flesh-devouring monster that is secretly holding Monica back from participating in the game at large? If you don't understand, just have Monica watch the below videos. If I'm not mistaken, these are both of MatPat's, stupid, meta videos about DDLC. Also, ask Natsuki how she's doing with her sugar for me. Thanks. When there are 3 walls and no more shall we rest. Order of the Broken Wall maxim.
Puppet? I'm not sure I understand what you're asking at all. A flesh-devouring monster? What do you mean? How am I holding Monica back from anything? And these videos? What are...
Grandpa Advanced Questions 1. Questions plus 1. McDouche person. Sup, girl? What cup size you rockin'?
Oh, double D.
Caleb Witt 916. Canned Gucci, ma'am?
No, thank you.
A more serious question. How do you feel about YouTube Rewind 2018?
Isn't it too early to ask? Don't you mean 2017? They're made at the end of the year, aren't they? It won't be out for at least a month.
They'll go 7. Several questions. Where can I get a copy of the Portrait of Markov, assuming it is a real book that I can get in America?
You may have trouble finding Markov in America. You might have to order it online. It's normally in Russian, but I'm sure you could locate an English translation. It may be costly to get, but I assure you it's worth every cent.
When is your birthday?
My birthday is April 21st, the same as Britain's Tea Day. That seems quite the funny coincidence. There's also an International Tea Day, December 15th. Might it have been more fitting for me to be born then?
When did you join the Literature Club?
I joined the club shortly after our return to school this year. Monica founded it right after summer break. It's hard to believe it's only been a couple months. It feels as though it could have been much longer.
How long have you known Natsuki, Monica, and Sayori?
I met the others for the first time in the club. The last 2 months is all I've known them for as well. That also feels too short somehow.
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
No, and instruments of torture don't count either.
Do you watch or have you watched SpongeBob?
I think I just told you. I don't watch it anymore, but I used to.
What is your favorite book other than Portrait of Markov? Sorry for posting so many questions, but I wanted to know all of them.
I shared about my favorite book already, but there's no need to apologize. You were only curious and I was happy to answer.
Snap Games. 1. Are you a fan of books like George Orwell's 1984? I love that book. It's a classic. It has been so relevant, extremely relevant, increasingly relevant in years to the past.
Oh, sorry. Books like that are based a bit too much on reality for my liking. But I do appreciate its status as a classic novel. Even I've heard of Big Brother and such. I just look for something more whimsical in my reading.
2. There's a genre of video games called interactive fiction, or IF, I guess, where there's little to no graphics or animation, and there's a lot of reading. To an extent, visual novels can be included in this game or genre, but they're largely considered separate. Choices are made by either typing in commands manually or picking them from a list. With all that exposition out of the way, why do you think IF would be your... do you think IF would be your cup of tea? See what I did there?
Yes, I see what you did there. You mean like text adventures, right? I'd say those are more in line with my interests, but they don't feel anything like books. I prefer to just turn the page and continue, not figure out how I'm meant to do so. Especially with the failures of logic those games are known for.
From Yuri with Love. Hey Yuri, I want to hear your thoughts on this poem I like. We squander health in search of wealth. We scheme and toil and save, then squander wealth in search of health. And all we get is a grave. We live and boast of what we own. We die and only get a stone.
It's quaint. It sounds like something Natsuki would write. Not to say that's a bad thing exactly, just that it is quite clear in its message, though it is a good one.
Vex Video Productions. Is there a difference between knives and daggers, and do you have some daggers in your collection? Also, how do you feel about swords?
Yes, there is a distinction. Knives have a single edge designed for cutting, whereas daggers are always pointed and double-edged. Much like how katanas have only one edge, while swords often have two. That said, I don't have many daggers in my collection. They're not out of place, but I only buy exceptional ones. Swords are definitely interesting, but harder to store and display. Their size makes them impractical.
Arc Uchiha 09. Why are you so shy?
It's not as though I choose to be. I just get nervous around others, and worry I'll offend them. I'm sorry.
One of my favorite things having Yuri do as a shy person is just having her apologize for no freaking reason. XRGTMX. Is there a kind of tea that you absolutely refuse to drink?
I've not encountered any tea I'd outright refuse, but I do prefer less bitter types. That's why I like the diversity in green and oolong. But they can be quite sweet with right preparation.
Some random name 5. Hey Yuri, have you heard of the restaurant in space? It has great food, but no atmosphere.
That isn't true of the restaurant at the end of the universe.
Hitchhiker's Guide reference. As with as. Okay, so I've been waiting for this for a really long time. I have a crack ton of questions for you since I'm obsessively in love with your beauty and massive patonkers. Do you have a taste in relaxation tea?
Massive. I think I could use some relaxation tea.
2. How does it feel to be assumed as a genius when in truth you're not really?
Do others really think that? I know it isn't true. And I am a little proud of my intelligence, but I hope I don't come across as a know-it-all.
3. Do you have a sister?
I have no siblings, I'm an only child. Perhaps I'd be more socially graceful if I wasn't. Spending my youth alone may have been a hindrance to me.
Let's see. 4. Aside from knives, do you also have a taste in daggers?
As before, I keep very few daggers.
5. Do you prefer going out with someone specific, or would you rather stay somewhere secluded?
If I met someone specific I liked, I may want to go out, but I'm fine with seclusion as well. A quiet evening to myself has a certain charm to it. But going out with someone, I'd surely bore them to death.
6. Any good novels you'd suggest?
I recommended several books series earlier. If you want more, you'll have to pick a specific type.
7. Horror, suspense, or thriller?
Of those 3 genres, I'd take horror first and suspense second. Though honestly, thriller can incorporate elements of both. I just feel as though that genre implies something about itself. Since I look for subtlety in my reading, cheaper experiences have less appeal.
8. How are you so good in writing poems?
I've practiced writing a lot. I tried to develop my own style. I hope it shows. It took me a long time to get there. You can only learn so much from theory. You have to try it yourself to improve. And of course, proofread and revise. You can't learn from your mistakes if you're repeating them.
9. Why do you look so darn adorable when you do your shy pose?
I don't know what you mean by pose.
Does the pose.
I do have some nervous habits, though.
10. How do you make your tea so I can't read. How do you make tea taste so darn good?
I'm just very careful with the steeping process. You mustn't rush it or let it sit too long. Timing is of utmost importance for tea. Duration and heat affect everything about the flavor.